Hello, I'm Julian Marlow from the Halifax, and this is
Steph, Bister.
And this webinar is about the service proposition from the Halifax and making life easier for you. So in terms of where our processing is done, we have 3 sites, all in the UK. So we have Edinburgh, where there's 450 colleagues sit, who do the day-to-day processing of your cases and also look after all your product transfers. In London, we have the Premier team. This is a dedicated team for cases over £500,000, and you can talk through cases before submission. And in Halifax, this is where our underwriters sit, and also where our intermediary sales support team also sit. So, making it easy to do business with this Halifax. So, as it says, yes, why Halifax? So, yeah, multiple award-winning service. Day one underwriting. What we always say is when you submit the cases to us online, we encourage you to speak to a mortgage consultant to carry out all the initial checks on that first day of submission. Therefore, if you've got any queries with your cases, these can be eliminated on day one, and pretty much your case can be agreed on day one, subject to valuation. We will also instruct that valuation on day one, as it says, for the majority of cases. Obviously, we'll put the valuation on hold if there is concerns about the case or the case is going to be referred to our underwriters. In terms of application to offer times, well, we're still the leading industry lender. Pretty much all our cases go to offer within 14 days. You'd also have direct access to our underwriters who sit in Halifax, as previously mentioned. And we also just recently launched in 2019 a system called WebChat. Also, all intermediaries now within the UK have a BDM or a TBDM, so we literally now do cover the whole of the UK.
So just going on from what Julian was saying there about the preferred process for working with Halifax. So submit the full application via the Halifax online system. Then please upload all documents as shown on the accept email. This is now in the system itself, and you submit the documents are now visible immediately to us. Save and exit the application, and then call our processing team who are available from 8 AM till 6 PM, and they literally will get that case underwritten to offer subject to valuation in most cases. So it's always worth uploading those documents prior to making this initial call, just for speed, and so that they can see them immediately. For our Premier business, that's the stuff at over 500,000, as Julian's already mentioned. Please just ensure that you have that information and only upload the documents that we require, but you will have a dedicated case handler. Ensure we have accurate details of who we need to contact to access the property, along with the correct solicitor details, as we do find this will avoid delays at a later stage. And ensure that your contact details are up to date. You can manage this easily, and your BDM can give you any support if you do need help on that. On the application, we do ask for the customer's mobile number and email address. This is just so that we can contact the clients should there be any issues post-completion. There will be no cross-selling. The initial call process should only be used on new mortgage cases below £500,000. Everything above that figure will be case managed by Premier, and a colleague will contact you directly. Now, when the team go through the case with you, usually it will mirror the information that's detailed on the email response from the application. If additional information is requested, please don't hesitate to ask why that is being asked for, and it may well be that the case does need to be reviewed by our credit decision team or underwriters. So we will always be very clear and transparent about what this information is required for. If additional information is requested by the team after the initial call that you've made to us, if you can please upload that to the system, and then this will automatically be picked up by the team. Now, before you call through to the case tracking team, please do ensure that you have given us everything that we require, and this will really speed up that process for you. When you call through to the team, there are a number of choices on the automated list, so please listen carefully to ensure that you do go through to the correct team. So, what's new at Halifax? So we've got the streamlined initial checks that we've talked about, and hopefully you'll feel the benefit of that. Simplified income verification. So with the Halifax, generally we're going to be asking for the latest pay slip to verify employed income. This is whether the case is the customer is paid weekly or monthly. If we need additional income to be verified, generally we will ask for the latest 3 pay slips, again, whether that's weekly or monthly. The majority of additional income we take at 60%, but there are cases where we can take 100%, and the website can be very helpful. We've got a criteria section, there's the live chat that Julian mentioned, and also your BDM will be very happy to assist you with this. In some instances, if the customer has a salary mandated Halifax or Lloyd's account, we will auto income verification the cases. In addition, if there is a complexity or a pay rise or something along those lines, the Halifax will accept an employment reference. We ask you to assist us in the obtaining of that so that we ensure that it comes from the correct place and then it's emailed directly over to the Halifax. So the Halifax valuations are now dealt with by eServe. And we potentially, it could be an automated valuation or it could be an internal inspection. But either way, the earliest appointment will be made for obtaining that valuation, and it will come back into the system and potentially offer, providing there's no additional works required. So our lending policy is, as I've mentioned, on the criteria website, but please, for anything that you want to clarify, or if you have a number of things, this is where your BDM really can be extremely useful and can make the difference between the case being accepted or not. So product transfers, you'll have enjoyed using us for product transfers for a long time now. However, we have made improvements, which is great. So you now have the ability to track the application from submission to completion, and this is on the case tracking as you first log into the system through the application screen. We have an improved intuitive online system, and you can self-serve through to completion for many of our product transfer opportunities. For some of those, perhaps if the case has got an element of interest only or there's another complexity, then the team may need us to engage with you briefly. So we also have the mortgage inquiry system, which is invaluable. So any existing Halifax clients, you can go in and access and understand what the up-to-date, real-time balance is, any products that are on there, and when those products will be coming to an end. So it can make your planning very easy. In certain instances, we'll specifically need client consent in order to complete, but in the majority of cases, you submit the business and we complete on that basis. So here is our simple 8-step process. Very much you're guided through this process prior to actually, you don't need to do anything special. The system will actually take you through this screen, and it's a data capture form rather than a live system once you get to the more complex. But if it's a straightforward customer budget assessment, then it will be done, the illustration produced, and potentially that can be completed immediately to take effect from the 1st of the following month, or potentially from the end of the product. You now have that selection whether or not you want to future date your product transfer, which is a great addition to the process. So just some hints and tips to finish off then on the product transfers. So please key all product transfers online. There is no need to call the team. So for a budget assessment or a full affordability assessment, again, once that's submitted, there's no need to call the team. If there are additional requirements, they will email you directly, and this is generally within 48 hours, although usually much swifter. So there's no paper declaration required at all when using the straight-through process. On a full affordability case, a declaration can be completed by the broker on behalf of the clients. We've got a dedicated phone number there for our technical helpline. If you're decreasing the mortgage term, we will require the client to evidence income as part of the application. So if you can please ensure that you have 3 months pay slips, corresponding bank statements, and self-employed income verification, that will ensure that you should have everything that will be required. And please do make a note of all current credit commitments so that we can hopefully get this through as quickly as possible for you. If the customer does have an interest-only mortgage with the Halifax at the moment, we will need to revalidate that repayment vehicle. And where a client doesn't have a suitable vehicle, please do speak to your Halifax BDM and they will be able to guide you on this process. Invariably, we will be able to help and support your customer, even in this instance. Right, so just to take you through the dual product transfer and further advance application, we will need your information. The combined application is driven by the further advance, followed by the product transfer, but done simultaneously. The reasons for the further advance, generally speaking, we can do that from a minimum of £10,000, and it can be for most legal purposes, excluding anything to do with business injection. There can be a variety of repayment plans. If it's going to be interest only, then we do require the main mortgage to be verified and have a suitable repayment vehicle. If the main mortgage is interest only and the new mortgage, the further advance will be on a repayment basis, we would still need to evidence the repayment plan for the main mortgage. Credit commitments will need to be noted and will be taken into account. This is a fully credit scored and underwritten process. And we will need the client's employment details, and you will select the product. The products are aligned now for a product transfer and further advance.
So, thanks for that, Steph. That was a very comprehensive update on the service and systems we provide to the intermediaries. I hope you enjoyed listening to that and picked up some hints and tips. I'd just like to thank you for all your support in 2019, and we look forward to working with you again in 2020.